And we are back. Southern Front Podcast, MAGA Report, your nightly news, 10-ish, usually 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, although that might be modified just by moments after one of our 2-hour shows. Could be 10:15. We'll try to make that announcement. Tonight was good, although me and Rob did have a lot of discussion after the last show, which ran on a bit, so which was good. We were trying to get some things worked out, and so, but I had plenty of time. So sometimes though, we may come in just a slightly later at 10:15. Good evening, welcome back. If you watched us before, the Cornbread Nation, thank you for that. If you're watching for the first time today, thank you for the view. If this is your first time to be in the stream with the Southern Fried Podcast and the Cornbread Nation, thank you so much. I'm Dave in the AM, your host. This is a new feature. We have a Southern Fried MAGA show, which is on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, typically, and we go for about 2 hours with catching up in the news of the week. I have done some news programs through the week. We have a Sunday night show as well that is all news. But there's so much going on with the administration. We needed a nightly show, and it's really gearing. Good evening, Miss Jennifer. It's really aligning with some things that we're working on in the future, the near future, hopefully. And so with some regular programming, we have the morning shows, which are pretty much 5 days a week now, too. In fact, they really are. We may modify that, or not modify, we will keep it, but there could be times where the time might be adjusted because of work schedules or wherever. But we do those live. So now we have the 5 late night shows, along with all the other programming. So wanted to come in and just do a 1 hour quick blitz of some of the news of the day. Last night, as we were on the air, the mineral deal was signed. So it was nice to lead right into that and come into talking about that pretty quick. The today was the change of the administration that has been going on. There's a few other things as well. Trump gave he's in Alabama, the great state of Alabama. Trump giving the graduating class, the first of the golden age in his commencement speech, a chance to be the greatest generation. So, as again, the president is very busy, making some changes to the administration, somewhat overdue, I think. Been some embarrassment there for him with some of the cabinet moving some people around. Those things are going to happen. It happens to the best of them. You try to pick the best people. Sometimes it's like a team. You're picking that ball team. You try to recruit or get the best contracts of the best players that you can on your team. You recruited a lot of great people. Sometimes, though, what's on paper or what they talked about on the practice field, and maybe even the practice field, it looked good, but it didn't translate to game time experience that helped you to be a winner. And in this case, it absolutely was causing the administration some grief, we'll say. So making changes there in the administration. So we'll get to that in just a minute. Another article, we'll come back to that in just a minute. CNN Scott Jennings is claiming he's going to run for the Senate to replace our old boy in Kentucky, Mitch McConnell. Kentucky's an interesting state in that, yes, you think very southern, rural, conservative, and yes, a good portion of it is, but they certainly have those cities which are very blue, and some Democrats have done well in Kentucky. It's not out of the realm of possibility that it could gain traction there. McConnell has certainly burned bridges. I mean, they kept voting for him, which says something. But he burned us there really bad. A lot of people are frustrated. There'll be others that will run. But it is, you have a person who's in communication. And McConnell was not a good communicator. I mean, horrible to listen to, especially for the last couple of years. Some due to medical reasons, others he's just a buffoon. Sorry. You just made us look bad. You have somebody that's younger, able to communicate, that could be powerful. After all, President Trump was not a politician. And one of his greatest attributes was his ability, and it still is, his ability to connect with the common man, which is hard to do as a billionaire. It's not the easiest thing. But you saw this early on when he was running in 2016, when the retirees in Florida were coming in the droves, standing in the hot sun. Now, they believed in his business sense. They also believed in his ability to communicate. They were invested into his promises, his speeches, even his comedy, which the media usually laughs at. So just keeping an eye on those elections that are going on. That could be, that's an interesting, Kentucky, like I said, there's been some weird things happen in Kentucky that, you just wouldn't think it would happen there. So I would just say keep an eye on that. He told the graduating class in Alabama, you've done a lot of winning. Winning is a good thing to do. This is the class of 2025, the university known for its powerhouse athletic programs. But today, I'm also asking you to look forward to something very, very bright and more promising. And it's going to be even more promising tomorrow. I promise you that. You're the first graduating class of the golden age of America, Trump declared. The president touted his historic first 3 months back in the White House as a beacon of what the future has in store. 100 days yesterday. 100 days, and we've done things that nobody thought were even possible. You're graduating at an exciting time for our nation, a period of both extraordinary change and incredible potential. The president predicted that the new graduates will see unbelievable growth in the country very soon. Of course, we all hope for that. Absolutely. He said, you're going to see it starting very, very soon. The whole world is talking about it. Later, the commander-in-chief expressed optimism that grads could become a part of the greatest generation of Americans to ever live. I think you have the chance to be the greatest generation in the history of our country because we're turning it around. He was introduced by former Alabama Crimson Tide football coach Nick Saban. It's a special moment for me, the 7-time national championship winning coach, instead of introducing Trump. But I've got to be honest with you, Saban added. I feel like I'm the warm-up band for the Rolling Stones. His address marks the first time in 18 years that the University of Alabama has brought in a commencement speaker for graduation festivities. The last speaker brought in was Alabama businessman James T. Stevens. In the spring of 2007, he used the platform to criticize U.S. war in Iraq, drawing boos and even some laughter, according to the Tuscaloosa News. So nice. President Trump has made many trips to the state of Alabama. He has attended NASCAR races there. He's been there at football games, and he finds a warm reception from most of the state. So that's interesting. That speech, and it would be great. How legendary would that be? That it's your commencement speech. You have the president, the sitting president of the United States, to do those things. I just think that is pretty amazing for that to happen. All right, moving on. The administration has appealed to the Supreme Court to drop some protections on several 100,000 Venezuelans. And they're continuing to try to get some illegals out that are in the country. There's been a lot that has been taken out of the country. And in a first, or not maybe a first, but something that is picking up steam, is some countries are now making the flights here to pick up their own people. Uzbekistan, I believe it was, landed a plane and picked up their people that were illegal here and took them home. And the president seemed positive that other countries were going to line up to do that, which is the way it should be. Why should we burn the fuel and take them home? They should come get them. It's their people. So I applaud them on that. They could deal with it. That's their citizens. Let them deal with it. And I wonder what the liberals will have to say about that when the country that they belong to as a citizen actually comes and picks up their people. That's airplane flights that I can get behind. I like that. So I don't know by virtue of the numbers, that's a smaller number that's happening, but if that picks up steam, that's good for the country and it's good for the administration, because the liberals won't get very far addressing a foreign country who's coming to pick up their own citizens. They would tell me to go kick rocks. So they would say, well, they weren't there, supposed to be there. We're bringing them home. We'll deal with them. It's our citizens. That will inflame the liberals. They will not like that because they can't do anything with it. So they can criticize our administration greatly. But what are you going to do with another country's government? You're not going to be able to say too much. They're not going to listen to you. They don't care what you have to say. All right, Mike Waltz was removed from the NSA. We know that this whole military strike that occurred, everybody's heard about the people that were on the call that were not supposed to be in the app. Pete Hegseth, Defense Secretary, was taking a lot of heat for this. But it is, we said there's some snakes in the administration. Now, was it accidental? Was it on purpose? But they have moved it, and they're not calling it a demotion, but they're calling it a promotion. Well, okay, apples, oranges, whatever you want to say. He's caused a lot of problems in the West Wing, and he has been removed from the NSA. But, and a sign to not let it be a total fall from grace, he has been now named U.S. Ambassador, nominated to that. And so he's been in his first job for almost 4 months. And Vice President J.D. Vance has come out and said that Mike Waltz has the trust of both himself and the President Donald Trump after the now removed National Security Advisor, NSA, was nominated Thursday to become the next U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations. A couple things about this. We'll finish up the comments here from the Vice President in just a second. First of all, the guy was not, he's caused him a lot of problems. He was gone. I get that you want to do something with him, but why would you send him there? I don't have any use for the United Nations usually, but some, and I don't care for the way she attacked the president, but Nikki Haley did a pretty good job at the UN. And there have been others who have. There have been some who haven't. But some people have used that placement to go on to bigger things. In this case, I think it's the equivalent of going to Siberia. I really do. It's a way to send him home, but give him something to do. They're not going to listen to the United Nations much anyway. Let's face it, President Trump goes to the beat of his own drum. He's not a globalist, and he's sickened by most of the things that happens at the UN anyway, as we all are, as good Americans. And so he can't do much harm. They can't vote. They'll have to vote the way the administration wants them to vote. It's not effective. And so to me, it's like, okay, we give him a job. We'll say it's not a demotion, it's a promotion. And that he's going to help us greatly over here, but it's a position that you realize the president can care less about. He could care less about that, to be honest. I don't think the vice president would have much use for it either. Vice President Vance, for his part, says, I think he can make a good argument that it's a promotion. Come on, Jake. Come on. Okay, I realize this is all smoke and mirrors. This whole story continued to blow up in their faces, and the guy had to be dealt with. I get it. I'm fine with it. You got to do what you got to do, but I'm not buying that. He gave an exclusive interview under the special report from Nicour Steele Berkeley, or from the Nicour Steele or Kelly plant in South Carolina. We brought Mike on to do some serious reforms at the NSA, or the National Security Council. He has done that. Almost 4 months worth. The former Ohio Senator and White House said the White House believes Waltz will better serve the administration as U.S. ambassador, a Senate-confirmed position. Waltz's exit comes nearly 4 months after he resigned from his Florida congressional seat to take the NSA role at the White House. The Army veteran faced growing scrutiny after he created a group chat on the encrypted messaging app Signal in late March, where top national security officials discussed pending attacks against the Houthis. My God, the Houthis keep popping up in the stories. The Houthis in Yemen. Waltz inadvertently added the Atlantic's editor-in-chief, Jeffrey Goldberg, to the Houthi PC small group on Signal, where Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth shared sensitive information about the timing of U.S. military strikes in Yemen. Hegseth, for his part, maintained that the information shared was not classified. Of course, Democrats are all a tizzy. You know, it's the end of the world. And what could have happened? It didn't happen. It was an effective thing. And yes, it's an ugly state. But they're looking for something to rail on the president about. That's Mike Waltz was never going to be able to stay in this position because of that. There's no way they were going to leave him there to cause more problems. He couldn't get over the problem that he had. There may be other people here. He's falling on the sword. There's no doubt, but they're not they're not kicking him out all the way. Which, it is the smart thing to do, because if you have him totally follow the sword, then what does he become? A potential enemy. He begins to go on the talk shows, and if he's hurt enough in the rear end, then he begins to hurt. I don't think overall he'd do that, because he would kill his career ever running for office again. But it wouldn't be a good look. This way, you keep him busy, active, actually somewhat in the public eye, but not like he has been. So pretty smart. But again, it's like sending him to Siberia, because they are never going to listen. Oh, they'll make votes and stuff, but they're not. There's nothing really effective going to happen at the UN that he's going to be able to. Well, we'll just say it probably was said like this: we'll send him to the UN. He'll have a job. He can't mess it up, because we're going to tell him exactly what to do. And we're not going to listen. We're not going to do anything with the UN anyway. In fact, we're probably going to cut some funds that we're sending there. My opinion. That's Dave and the AM's opinion. I just think, and you know what? Maybe there is a chance of redemption there, but it's not going to be anytime soon, and he'll never have a high level again. I mean, once you've blown it, you've blown it. I mean, Alexander Haig back in the day blew it. His career, for all intents and purposes, was over for his statement that he was in control there in D.C. during the Ronald Reagan, when they attempted to assassinate him, Mr. Hinckley. He made a critical mistake. He bypassed a big part of the chain of command. He was not the next in command. He thought, since nobody was in Washington but him, that he was in control. Well, he was wrong, and it ruined his career. So it actually, for a short time, go back to, we're going to do a show about that. Actually, I remember that. We're assembling some things now. I'd like to get some press reports, some audio recordings and stuff. Those hours in and right after that event, as well known, just we'll go back to revisit it, went from there's nothing going on to the potential the president could die, to him joking and others trying to take over when and they saved his life, but they never transferred command. But I remember reading how hot Air Force Two came in, because they wanted to get the vice president, George Bush, into D.C. as quickly as possible, because not that it would have happened, but it was the possibility. It sounded like a coup, and it's military. So that's interesting to go back all those years ago and look at that. So this guy's career, he's cast out to the outer darkness, and they're saying that it was a nothing burger, and they say that he's simply being moved to another administration position because Trump believes Waltz would do a better job in a different role. Oh, haven't people heard that before? How many times have people heard, you're not being demoted, but we think you're better over here. We think you're better in this position. It's a way to keep a worker. It's a way to deal with a situation. But everybody knows what the deal is. You messed up. You didn't do the job. And in this case, both. And so he's being moved. The vice president also added to the Signal. He was also added to the Signal group chat along with Tulsi Gabbard, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, and other senior members of the Trump administration. In that chat, Vance expressed his disagreement with the strikes, arguing that such action could be seen as inconsistent with Trump's foreign policy messaging when it comes to European allies stepping up to the plate for their own defense. He viewed the strikes as bailing Europe out. I'm not sure the president is aware how inconsistent this is with his message on Europe right now. There's a further risk that we see a moderate to severe spike in oil prices. I am willing to support the consensus of the team and keep these concerns to myself, but there is a strong argument for delaying this a month, doing the messaging work on why this matters. Seeing where the economy is, etc., the vice president wrote in Signal. Vice President Vance told Bret Baier that he believes the Signal chat reflected well on him because it shows his willingness to engage in conversation with other administration officials about how best to implement the president's agenda, which is quite true. It is showing a depth of the conversation and where that's going. However, it's horrible that that was released. That should not have been. Not till they write books years later. I think that's what a good national security team should do, sure, but you don't bring in the liberal news person, media person, into that chat. So it was a big mess up. Ongoing situation too. That was not a one and done. Houthi strikes are continuing and will continue, and the president is amping up the military hardware in the region, as we talked about last night, and we will see where that goes. But you kind of felt like that this was going to happen and happen fairly quickly. I have to admit, I'm a little shocked. I thought they would just send him basically banishing from Washington, which kind of they have, really. I mean, he's in New York now. But I thought they might just send him home. But that would be a bad look this short a time into the new administration. So this is a way to save face for a lot of people. But make no mistake about it. Career is over, and he's been sent to Siberia. So that's what happens when a naval commander messes up at sea. Sometimes they do fire them, and sometimes if they're been served a long time with a lot of medals and commendations, they send them to the Arctic Command to pilot a dinghy. I'm only exaggerating just a little bit. You are sent out of the hot spots of the world. You're not in the Red Sea. You're not out there, engaging Russian and Chinese assets and, helping with operations, military operations. You're now operating a frigate or something, in the Arctic. That's as good as saying your career is over, but we're going to let you finish your days out so you can retire and not be embarrassed that way and get your full pension. It's a way to say you should have been fired, but we're gonna have mercy here and we're gonna let you finish out. But you're done. You're done. Keep your mouth shut. Serve your 6 months, year and a half, whatever it is, very quietly. We're going to send you to a place where that's really easy to do. And don't mess up again, or the next time you won't have a ship and you won't have a career, however small that ship may be. That's what they've done with Mike Waltz. So a little bit of, I get it. This is, it doesn't matter which administration, they're going to put the right face on it, the right phrasing. I don't fault them for that at all. Everybody does it. But we read between the lines here, and we know that this story was continuing to smoke the administration. Dems were not going to let it go. The media is not going to let it go. It'll still be out there, but now they've done something about it. But they've done it in such a way that they're not saying, well, we screwed up. We should have never brought this guy in. We're saying, oh, we're moving him around. And actually, nobody's going to believe this, but actually it's somewhat of a promotion. Okay, national intelligence and things like that, being involved in basically the war rooms of this stuff to the UN ambassador, it's not quite a promotion. Although you could say you're sending him to the world. So we'll see. And it looks like a demotion to me. Absolutely looks like a demotion to me. But it's a way to save face. Your career is over. And who knows? Maybe he'll like it there. I don't know. But we'll see. Let's take a quick commercial. It's at the bottom of the hour. And we'll be right back. Thanks for watching the MAGA Report. Dave in the AM. Appreciate you so very much. Don't forget, Patriot Mobile, promo code Cornbread. Make the switch today and become, as we are, a member of that great family based in Dallas, Texas. Get a month free, and you'll be helping yourself. You'll be helping an American company, and yes, you'll be helping the Southern Fried Cornbread Nation. Absolutely. We appreciate that. It means a lot to us. All right. W Energy Drinks, another one of our affiliates. We'll be right back.
Hey, Southern Fried Podcast fans. This is Dave the AM for the Southern Fried Podcast. We want to advertise for W, who's got some special things going on. So are you tired of those energy drinks that you drink and they give you the jitters and the crashes that come from the typical drink? Look no further than W Energy Drink. It's a revolutionary new beverage that will keep you energized without any of those downsides. For a limited time, folks, a limited time, W is offering an incredible 30% off on everything they sell. That's right. You can stock up on your favorite flavors and save big while enjoying the smooth, sustained energy that only W can provide. I'm a customer member, and I can testify to this. I love this drink. No shakes, no crashes. And if it can help my mental acuity, I'm happy too. Awesome. They have a unique formula that provides you a perfect balance of focus and vitality without any of those unpleasant side effects that we don't want. No more of those shaking hands, crashing you in the middle of the day. Just pure clean energy to help you tackle any challenge that comes your way. But don't wait too long. This 30% offer won't last forever. Go on over to W's website now and start shopping. Remember to smash that promo code Southern Fried into the area where they ask you to put that in there, and it'll help us as well. You're still going to get the 30%, but it'll let them know that you are supporting us, and so we appreciate it today. So try a W Energy Drink and experience the difference for yourself. Your body and mind will thank you for making the switch to the energy drink that truly delivers on its promises. Don't miss out on this fantastic opportunity to save big and upgrade your energy game with W. Don't forget, use that promo code Southern Fried.
Yeah, love me some W. I am a faithful consumer of it. In fact, I just finished off a bottle. They do have the cans. I've never gotten the cans. They had those out for a while. They do have those drinks in cans, but I have the tubs and some of the individual packs. In fact, I had ordered a sample pack, and I've been going through those, and those flavors are amazing. And last 3 mornings, I usually come out in the morning to the studio, and I'll have a cup of coffee and one of those, and I'm ready to hit the road. and you don't. I absolutely can attest the fact you do not have the shakes, and you do not have the crash. Love it. So get you some W today. Be sure to use that promo code Southern Fried. They offer a lot of specials too, and they're constantly doing really big cuts, like buy one get one free, 40% off. You just pay for the shipping on stuff. Sometimes they're just clearing out stuff. They are definitely marketing geniuses for moving product. Their sales team does a great job. Been a good partnership. I don't know. Uh, I don't know that Rob drinks the W. I don't know if he's ever had it, but I do. And it was an affiliate that I brought to the podcast. And they've been fun to be with. I like them. I like some of the birch items are cool too. Very big in the gaming community, but I can tell you, I've drank some energy drinks that I don't like. I've drank some that I do like, other brands. This one is, I've never had a problem. I've never had a problem. They're really funny. They do a really good job on artwork and stuff like that. They do a lot of things to catch your attention. I've got a couple of the shakers in here. I do use them sometimes, but I usually just shake it up in a bottle of water, cold water, and you're good to go. All right, Pete Hegseth is planning on some massive cuts in the military, not to the fighting men. No, they're going to lean the top, and we anticipated this coming. So today in the news, he has ordered the Army to cut costs by merging some commands and slashing jobs. This is no different than what businesses do to meet the economy challenges and things like that. But it says the Army is planning a sweeping transformation that will merge or close headquarters, dump outdated vehicles and aircraft, slash as many as 1,000 headquarters staffers in the Pentagon, and shift personnel to units in the field, according to a new memo and U.S. officials familiar with the changes. That memo released today said that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth ordered the transformation to, quote, build a leaner, more lethal force, end quote. Remember, they said that the military was not ready for a major confrontation, hoping it does not occur. But if we're talking about China, he knew that there was problems there. The military has been allowed to get fat at the top. All these programs that did nothing but hurt the spirit of the military and the fighting strength and ability of the military, all the numbers were down. We're not ready for that. And this is a part of those changes that would happen. So build a leaner, more lethal force. After all, you have to have a mission statement. What do you want to accomplish? It needs to be not too broad. It needs to be narrow. That does it. Leaner and more lethal. I can get that. The L&L. He said the discussions have been ongoing for weeks, including decisions to combine a number of Army commands. Colonel Dave Butler, an Army spokesman, said potential savings over 5 years would be nearly 40 billion with a B dollars. I'd say that's pretty significant. The military is very expensive. We support that, but in areas where we're wasting money, or in areas where it's not effective, the money we're spending, let's fix it. And that's something you would do in any corporation. So, hello, Crick Sig. I haven't heard from you in a while. Hope you're well. I am well. It's good to have you in the chat tonight. They said as many as 40 general officer slots could be cut as a result of the restructuring. The change comes as the Pentagon is under pressure to slash spending and personnel as part of the broader federal government cuts pushed by President Donald Trump's administration. I can see some early retirements coming out of this. In his memo, he said that the Army must eliminate wasteful spending and prioritize improvements to air and missile defense. Remember, this keeps coming up about the air and missile defense. That's been a key focus for Pete Hegseth and this administration. They are concerned. It is very evident that we are not prepared fully against some of the challenges. I got an upgrade. I'm not sure what you mean by that, Kirk Sick, the upgrade. Oh, you mean the studio? Yeah, been a lot of work, brother. But it's evident we're not ready. Oh, thank you for that. Thank you. That's very kind to say. We are trying. We've done a lot of work in the studio, and we're not done yet. So we're trying. But yes, we have a lot of things in place now. Appreciate that. But it seems as though we're not ready for a major missile strike. That there is the potential that something could get through, and it wouldn't take but one stray missile to hit a major city, and can you imagine the chaos that would entail? I'm not saying this; it's evident that they're saying this, and so gutting some things at the top, bunch of blowhards, really, honestly. Some of those we know needed to go, and some have already been sent packing. But that they need a better air and missile defense. Secondly, long-range fires, cyber and electronic warfare, and counter space capabilities. Specifically, he said the Army must merge Army Futures Command and Training and Doctrine Command into one entity and merge Forces Command, Army North and Army South into a single headquarters focused on homeland defense. There it is again. Didn't say anything about around the world, bases or anything like that, or ships. Homeland defense and partnership with our Western Hemisphere allies. In addition, he called for the Army to consolidate units, including Joint Munitions Command and Sustainment Command, as well as operations at various depots and arsenals. Officials said that while the mergers would result in fewer staff positions, there won't be a decrease in the Army's overall size. Instead, soldiers would be shifting to other posts. On the chopping block would be legacy weapons and equipment programs such as the Humvee and some helicopter formations, along with a number of armor and aviation units across active duty forces, National Guard, and Reserve. The units were not identified. A key issue, however, will be Congress. For years, the article goes on to say, for years, lawmakers have rejected Army and Pentagon efforts to kill a whole wide range of programs, often because they are located in their home district. I get that. You fight for the home team, and those are jobs and things that I get that. Defense Department and service leaders learned long ago to spread headquarters, depots, troops, and installations across the country to maximize congressional support, but those efforts also have stymied later moves to chop programs. It's unclear whether the House and Senate will allow all the cuts or simply add money back to the budget to keep some intact. So, I don't know that they can do all that to keep everything intact, especially the leadership situation. That's going to happen. I get it. You've got a factory in your state, and it makes whatever. We have a lot of military contracts in our. It's just the next state over, but I'm just 4 or 5 miles from the state line, and just a few miles up the road, we make wreckers in the area for the military. Those are a lot of jobs. It's a big company. And so, yeah, I get it. You protect that. And you can go into every state probably and find something like that. But there could be things combined up, and there could be things that would make more sense. Even location-wise, it might make better sense because you're not transporting as far to get, if it's needed for overseas operations or whatever. So, we've been waiting on this. There's been a little bit of movement. It's been very slow, but now we see that they're starting to make some moves to start cutting some of these things and get the military battle ready. But notice, yeah, they want those numbers up, but all of that, none of that really involved troop strength. What that involved was higher level capabilities, cyber, missile defense, all that stuff was about strengthening up ourselves against the attacks we face in this day and time. And that's where they're headed with this. From the Hill, an article that today, President Trump threatened sanctions on countries that buy oil from Iran. This all ties together. Remember, not only are we hitting the Houthis, we're building up the military capability in the area. And the question of what's going to happen with the Iranian nuclear capability for their nuclear reactor is the big question that's on the table. Israel, for its part, wants it totally destroyed. The president has said, basically, we agree on all the major points. However, he has also said that he's not sure about the strike, but negotiation, and see if they can get it that way. This seems to be another way that supports that, because if you hurt their money, then it would, slow them down on their ability to move those things forward, and they might be agreeable to making a deal. However, I will say this was not effective against Russia. In fact, Russia began to make more money. There's enough black market profiteers, countries that do not care, and they will buy the oil. It might help a little bit, and it might put some pressure on, but I don't know that that would help in a great way. But it seems as though that's where they're headed with this. It said on an alert, all purchases of Iranian oil or petrochemical products must stop now. So the president said, any country or person who buys any amount of oil or petrochemicals from Iran will be subject to immediately secondary sanctions, Trump said Thursday in his online post. They will not be allowed to do business with the United States of America in any way, shape, or form. It's unclear how Trump, and according to this article from the Hill, would implement the ban, but his alert is a threat that could escalate tensions with China, who is Iran's top customer. During an already unstable time due to Trump's tariffs, blah, 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 the Associated Press repeated. The warnings came after planned talks about Iran's nuclear program were postponed. The discussion was set for this coming weekend, but Omani Foreign Minister Bader al-Husseini said it was delayed for logistical reasons. New dates have not been mutually agreed to. The talks were intended to construct Iran's nuclear program, or constrict Iran's nuclear program in exchange for the U.S. lifting some economic sanctions. The U.S. imposed new sanctions on Iran in early April. So you can kind of see all these pieces are kind of flowing together. He believes that they're going to be able to find some common ground for the Iranians to scale back their nuclear program. I'm not sure about that. I really am not sure about that. I mean, let's be honest. Has Iran ever really lived up to any agreement that they ever said? No. But he's making the attempt, and I get it. You have to, diplomacy. It's diplomacy. But the Iranians, they do what they want to do when they want to do it. Some would say that we've backed them off a little bit on some things, but boxing them in is not going to work because China's there and Russia's there. They build drones for Russia. They have an outlet for all this stuff. Yes, it would hurt them with dealing with it something, but I think that that was Biden's big plan for Russia. Oh, he crowed about that. Didn't bother them one bit. They have not only navigated it, they increased their financial ability, prosperity. China has had some severe economic problems, is working on that. Iran's always, of course, North Korea is in the mix, and a couple of others. They've got people that can trade this oil too. But I get it. The president is trying to run a full court press and get it in their head that, hey, we're not going to put up with this. You better come to an agreement or else. That's kind of an or else. And the strike is always on the table. The Israelis are ready. They've been ready. You remember when Bibi Netanyahu came and addressed Congress, and he drew the little map, or not the map, but the picture of the bomb in Iran. The Democrats hated that. He was just trying to put it in a very simple form, that if they have this, they will do this. If they get a bomb, they've already said it, they will try to destroy our country. And we will not allow that. We would prefer you to handle it, because they realize at that point what that would mean in the Middle East. But they're pushing the president pretty hard on this, and we'll see. But things to remember. It could be it's twofold. One is they are increasing the step up on the Houthis. Absolutely. Number two, it is a signal to Iran that we are moving capability into the region to expand on what we already have there, which is pretty significant anyway. And now we have even more. And it could be a signal to them that if you don't play nice, we're going to unleash the Israelis and we'll help them. So I think all that's in play. And we'll see what happens in the days ahead as that begins to take shape. I don't think the Iranians will make a deal. They'll lie anyway. But we can hold out hope. We can actually hold out hope. So Jasmine Crockett. There's so many articles, so many things to cover. But a couple here at the end as we get close to the end of the show. Jasmine Crockett, that wonderful person who likes to criticize people in wheelchairs, likes to talk a lot. She's out of Texas. She's reportedly stumping for support to take over the top Democratic seat of the House Oversight Committee. Really? She told her colleagues she is, quote, made for the moment. She's looking for support among her fellow Democrats as she eyes that possible run for that spot. Although Semaphore first reported about Crockett's plans, Politico also reported that two people familiar with the matter claimed the Congresswoman has been making calls, sending text messages, and having conversations on the floor in search of support for her quest to take the seat held by Representative Jerry Conley, Democrat, Virginia. Conley is reportedly planning to step aside as he finds, sadly, and I never like to see people battling health issues, as he steps aside to battle esophageal cancer. That is one of the most horrible cancers that you can have. Pray for them. I'll always say that. Crockett reportedly told her colleagues she is made for the moment. She told the publication, referring to the Democratic Party's desire to resist President Donald Trump in a more forceful way. Crockett did not respond to Fox News for comment. Politico reported that Crockett told the outlet in a text message that even though a vacancy does not currently exist, knowing that Representative Conley doesn't plan to seek re-election, and knowing that our oversight powers are broad, I'm ready to shine a light on the very dark things taking place in our country under this administration. Blah, 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 blah. So we'll see. I don't think that will happen. She is trying to be out front, making a lot of talks, but she oversteps with her mouth, and even for the Democrats, I think that's a bridge too far. So we'll see. Really, dude? Jasmine Crockett's one of the best things to come from Texas in a long time? Come on. We don't need that kind of, really making fun of cripples, the things they've done. I will admit she's probably a step up over Al Green. Probably. But really, you have your right to your opinion. But the best thing to come out of Texas in a long time, are you meaning from the Democrats? Because, yeah, they've had some pretty poor representatives come from Texas. That might be a true statement in that effect, because at least she's not as bad as what was there for so long, who was fighting to let killers free and everything else. The former senator who ran for mayor and lost. I believe that was of Houston. Okay, I don't care. Maybe he has made fun. I didn't say that was good or bad. I'm just saying that she's done that. But you're saying that's the best thing to come out of Texas. The comparison, why are you comparing to him? You're saying from Texas. He's not from Texas. Is that the best thing to come out of Texas? That's a fair question, but from what position? All politics or just some politics? I get it. You're supportive. Are you from Texas? And do you support them or you vote for them? That's fine. If that's what you like for a representative, maybe that's what makes America great. They are elected. She's elected. I don't care for some of the things she has said. And actually, it looks quite ignorant, which a lot of politicians do across the board, across the political spectrum. I agree. And yes, there has been things that have been said about others, by many, including Trump, that I don't support. but I don't like her politics. I don't like the things she has said, and she seems to be what I would call a rabble rouser, like it or not. But I'm not a fan. I think that the Democrats actually have some moderate leaders that I'm amazed that they haven't pushed forward. Why is it always the radical? That's been my point. Democrats have only themselves to blame. Don't blame anybody else. They have pushed their platform so far left. They've left some people that have they're really good serving people. We may disagree politically, but it was a big failure not to use Shapiro, I believe. There are some people that come across very well. They're knowledgeable, very smart, just disagree on policy. That's fine. That's what America's about, But I think they could have put forth much better representation and would have done much better. So, if you want to have the discussion, we can talk. I'm always open to it. But I don't agree that she's the best thing to come out of Texas in a while. But I'd be interested in hearing your bullet points on that. Because we are following some Texas politics, and we actually had last Friday on Duncan for Senate, who's running for the John Cornyn seat. We're interested in those states. Texas is a big, big issue, so is Florida, so is Georgia, which is where I'm at. And so we're going to be talking about that as we move forward. So if you want to bring intelligent discussion, I'm for it. I am absolutely for it. Let's not just sling things back and forth. Let's give me some details. And if you've got something to bring to the table that I'm not even aware of, we'll air it, because that's what it's about. So I don't like some of the things that she has said. It's not what I would call what a very professional of her. She's made herself look bad. Listen, we need strong leadership. And even on the conservative side, I have said that I don't like the way that some of the senators have spoken, including in addresses to Congress and the State of the Union. I'm not a fan of that. We have that on both parties, to the extreme right and the extreme left. She seems to be that type, and I just some of the things that she's come out and commented and said has been very attacking. And it doesn't. I question. She doesn't show herself to be very intelligent. It's more about slinging the mud. Maybe she is. I would like to hear more, because seemingly what she's getting in the press for is those things. If she has more than that, I would like to hear it, because we need good representation. So, well, name one. I mean, there's been things that, I don't remember the exact specifics. I was just in the news. She has had several headlines, and I went back and listened to her speech. At this point in night, I can't remember exactly those conversations, but I can go back and pull them too. I'll be glad to pull them up and come back in. We'll talk about it tomorrow night. I'll be glad to, because I have went and watched her videos, not just the clip. I actually filmed one of her clips and put in one of the shows, because I wanted to. One of the things that she said, I don't remember exactly what it was right now off the top of my head, but I'll be glad to go back and do it. So that's fair. I just don't have it in front of me right now, but I'd be glad to. It has been a brutal week for old Dave, and I'm mentally tired right now. I just can't think of it. So it was a hard day yesterday with a funeral and all, and I've been scatterbrained today. But I'd be glad to. I'd be glad to look at that. That's okay. If they want to have a discussion, I'm good for the discussion. So we're out of time in this one. But come back tomorrow. Tomorrow night, slightly after 10. I'll be glad to pull some things up. Be glad to. Michael, I hope you're doing well. And to Decabite, I hope you're well too. God bless you. Where do you hail from? What area of the country? I'd be interested to know if you'd like to share that before we go out. I wish everyone a great night. Hey, we're at the weekend. We got to get through Friday. And then we're there. We've got shows all weekend, and I wish you well. I have not heard from my sister landed back in Nevada yet. She is, I believe she's there by now, surely. But they were very tired, so pray for them as they get. Do you have someplace you can post it at? Well, only on our social media sites that we can post stuff. Our website's not done yet. We're waiting on it, but I would be glad. We're waiting on that to drop, and I would be glad to put it up on there. We just don't have that set yet. I mean, I've just got my personal social medias and the website or the podcast. We've got a Facebook. We've got, some that we can post it. I do have a Discord. We're really just getting it started. It's a good question. We got a guy that's sort of helping us mod that. I'm not a Discord expert. I have used it a little bit. If you'll email my email, southernfrontpodcast@yahoo.com, I'll be glad to send that address. I can post stuff there. We actually want to increase the Discord, but we just haven't had a chance yet. So it's a good question. That's just, we talk about spinning plates. We got a lot going on. And oh boy, Discord's just not one. That's kind of been down the list a little bit, but I want to get it built up. We and Robert was just talking about all the things we have going on. And we've got, it's a long list. Seems to get longer every day. And unfortunately, Discord's got shoved down that list a few times. But you know how it is. But it is a good thing. I like Discord. I just need to use it more and learn how to use it better. So pray for the old man. Birthday's in 5 days, baby. The big 60. If I make it. I'm praying I do. Oh. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Well, we will. It's just we've got a lot going on. We got those growing pains. Meaning we're growing so fast in many different ways, between working for a living and raising a granddaughter and working with my church and all the joy we have for this. It's just there's not. You'll be 50 in September. Well, happy early birthday, because that's a few months till you'll be 50. I remember when I was 50. Right around the time I turned 50. That's when we got the granddaughter to raise. Well, that was I was talking about to somebody today how tired I was. That first couple of months was a butt kicker, trying to figure out how to chase after a 2-year-old as I was approaching 50. Wow, that was rough. Decabot, where, if you don't mind saying, what area of the country are you from, or world? You're not going to be specific, just say a state or whatever. We're Georgia. I'm just curious. Thanks for coming in the stream. And I don't mind the question. I really don't. Sometimes we get hit hard late in the show, And again, we welcome a difference of opinion, just honest discussion. We try to keep it family friendly. But you're right. There's things that the president has said that I didn't care for. I'll say it. I've been critical about certain things. So sometimes I'll lose my MAGA card, I guess. But at the beginning of the day, at the beginning and end of every day, although we joke around on here a lot, I am a Christian, and I do pray for all people. Great state of California. Awesome. So you're right up on 8 o'clock or 7 o'clock. What was that, 4 hours? I hope you have a great evening in the great state of California. And we have friends from California. I was in California a long time ago. A quick stopover in LA and then on to San Diego to the naval base there. But what a great, clean city San Diego was. I just fell in love with the architecture and everything about San Diego. I didn't even get out in LA. I never left the airport. I just switched planes. My sister has been able to travel a lot of the state. And they have so many great national parks in California. I would love to visit some of those. I don't know if in this life I'll be able to do it. The time and money, I just don't know. But well, I understand that, and there is concerns. I think adjustments will be made for the tariffs, and I think they're working around that now. and he's going to back off on some of that. I really think it's going to create another business that buys from China then sells to the U.S. That's what's going to happen. That's how they'll take the labels off, change the labeling, and they'll sell, because China is going to lose money. And I know this because I've been listening to people who have been trying to buy very expensive parts from there and said there's no way we can do it for that price. But others have made it available for a markup. It's exactly what I said would happen, is that the tariffs, or that someone would use that to do a markup, make money. All they've done is do a shipping change. They bring it in, change the labeling, make it from somewhere else. And oh, you're in San Diego. Okay, born and raised. I loved it there. And I don't blame you. If I was there, I couldn't think of leaving either. It's a beautiful area. I loved it. I love the streets. Again, I've not seen all of California, but that's a beautiful area. Looking up on those hillsides, kind of a bowl, in parts of it, but it's just beautiful. The weather obviously is great, and it is just a wonderful, wonderful place. I'd love to go back. I really would. If I was going to go back to California, that's one of the areas that I would go to. Just tremendous city. I like that. And I'm a Falcons fan, but I always did like, in those days, the San Diego Chargers, who are now LA. Come on. But I was a big fan of Fouts and some of those receivers and stuff. That Coryell, Don Coryell, I would say his name, offense. I like their uniforms too. So what was great was when I was through, they were shipped to a few other countries, but who's going to buy it? Well, actually, I think that's happening. I think in the case that I'm talking about, which I can't be specific because it's work related, but some of those things are still being bought, and they just have to find it. Even with a lower tariff or a markup, they didn't. Not even a tariff. What had happened was we looked at something. It was very expensive. It would have been more than double that. So we couldn't do that. So looked for alternatives. Found it through someone else. Still a higher price than the original, but not what the other tariff was. So they said, well, worth it. So somebody's making the profit there. I agree with you. Some of those products probably won't filter in that way, but there's some things that is Chinese only, and those will. I think this thing will all be worked out within no more than 6 months. That's my opinion. Everybody's got one. I just don't see this going on. And I agree with you. The longer that it goes on, I think that the president will lose support because people don't. I mean, they're going to look at the economy. They're going to look at pricing. And so all he's got to do is get it leveled up some. It'll never be equal, but to get it somewhat there and then say, okay, and then they can claim victory and move on. But I think moving towards midterms, better have the tariff deal fixed up. It would hurt some candidates. I really believe that. Could be, maybe. That's an interesting thought. Interesting. And I won't claim to be a tariff expert. My gut tells me that I think that some of this is going to be. I think some of this will be straightened out pretty quick. I don't think it's going to take that long. It's rattling the sabers. They're both playing hardball. Nobody wants to look weaker here. I think they will actually get something done there. So we'll see. We'll see. I do have to go. Come back tomorrow night or whenever. I appreciate you coming by. Please give us a follow. I'd love to talk to you. It seemed very, very interesting, and I love that. And it's a show. We're covering some news, and we can disagree and still, still be friends. That's the way I look at it. And thank you so very much. God bless you and your family. And I hope that you're doing well in there in the great city of San Diego, in the great state of California. They just say Cali, right? That's what all my friends from Cali. They just say Cali. They always shorten it. They don't say California. Oh, well, that's true. I would agree with that. I agree with that. So it needs to be. Yeah, nice talking to you. And thank you for the well wishes and appreciate you. And we say to all good night. We'll go out with some music have some fun. Thanks to the one that posted. I'll try to check that out. I really do have to go. I got the morning show comes at 6. I got to get to bed. I still got some work to do, but hey, I love the podcast. I could be here all night, but I'm a little tired. It's been a rough week, and we got to get geared up for the weekend. But I'm going to go hit the side. I didn't sleep good last night, and I'm going to try my best to get some better sleep tonight. I've been drowsy all day. I actually came to the studio and took a nap while I was recording some promos and stuff. I said, I just woke up, phone in hand, just fell out. That comfortable chair you see behind me, I went to sleep. So I needed to go. Hey, y'all take care. God bless. We'll see you in the AM, or we'll see you when we see you. That's the way it goes. Take care.